Hello there, and welcome to the Slay Imposter Syndrome coaching series. I am Cheryl McCreary, your executive leadership coach. And today I am talking about my topic is 3 ways to avoid burnout. 3 ways to avoid burnout. So we know all of the ways that, come up around burnout, making sure you hydrate, making sure you get rest, take a bubble bath, those kinds of things. I'm going to be talking about some non-conventional or maybe some counterintuitive ways to really think about avoiding burnout, avoiding that feeling of crashing, of burning, of being so tired and so frazzled and so worn down that you have no energy, you're lifeless, you're listless, you can't think straight, you have brain fog, all of those things that happen when you get burnout. You're irritable, make rash decisions, all of those things that are not only not good for your well-being physically and mentally and emotionally, but also that it's not good for your well-being in terms of your brand, in terms of your personal brand, and making sure that you're building your brand and not damaging it. So let's talk about one way that you can begin to avoid burnout. So the first way is I want you to think about getting off the dance floor, getting off the dance floor. And what I mean by that is disengaging from the hustle bustle, the running around, all the things that you're caught up in during the day, to literally get out of that dance, get off of the dance floor, get into the balcony so that you have a different perspective, right? And with my clients, what I say to them literally is get off the dance floor. There's a great quote that said, a couple great quotes I have here related to that. One says that perspective is worth 80 IQ points, right? So meaning just having a different perspective, being not being so close to the forest you can't see the trees. By getting that perspective, getting that aerial view, you begin to see the shape things are taking or the trends that are happening. You begin to be able to be more strategic, so you can make smarter decisions, right? You can decide smartly when you're able to get off the dance floor. The other thing, another quote that I love is it says, for you to, you can't make positive choices for the rest of your life without an environment that makes those choices easy, natural, and enjoyable. Right? That's by Deepak Chopra. So if you're always caught up in the hustle, you're always in the bustle, always in the dance, always on the go, it's very difficult to make good choices for your life. It's very difficult to think long term because you're too much in the thick of things. So the first way to avoid burnout is you've got to get off the dance floor. What does that look like? That looks like disengaging from work at regular intervals. It looks like taking a vacation or a break. It looks like deciding to put up, boundaries so that you're not so you're not constantly available to people. So that brings me to number two and number three of how to avoid burnout, which one is setting great boundaries. Whenever I have a client who's approaching burnout, or even for myself, excuse me, the times that I've had burnout, inevitably what it points to is my lack of boundaries. I am overdoing, I'm overworking, I'm overcompensating, I'm overachieving. And sometimes it's tied into my imposter syndrome, right? Sometimes it can be tied into imposter syndrome because one thing I found is that people who chronically overwork or workaholics, sometimes it's related to I don't feel like I'm good enough, so I have to prove myself. I have to keep going, keep going, keep going. And I only mean that if it's sort of on a toxic level, like chronic overwork, chronic burning out, someone who constantly burns out, constantly hits the wall, constantly tired. Many times that can be tied to imposter syndrome because when you feel like you're not enough, then you have to overcompensate to feel like you are enough, right? And that's what leads to burnout. Now, regular hard work, burning out periodically, may not be related to imposter syndrome, but all of it is saying you need better boundaries, right? You need to say no as a complete sentence, right? No, decline work, decline putting on extra hours, decline working over the weekend, decline family, right? And really setting up great boundaries and teaching people how to do for themselves, letting them do for themselves. So that's another way that you can avoid burnout is if you have great boundaries, you are not going to burn out because you're going to know when enough is enough, when to say no, and when to protect yourself by having those boundaries set up to protect your time and your energy, your emotions, all of those things. Now, the third way to avoid burnout and to prevent it from happening is to really look at what is the perfect natural rhythm for you to work. This was a big lesson for me. I am by nature, I love what I do. I love my work. And by nature, I'm a hard worker. I'm a high achiever and I put in long hours and I love it. I love my work. I can get lost in it. And there's not a day, I can't think of a day in the last 17 years I've awakened and didn't want to do my work, right? I love my business and I love what I do. And so what I've learned is just because I can pull all-nighters to get to meet client deadlines or big proposals or RFPs I'm bidding on, just because I can pull all-nighters doesn't mean I should pull all-nighters, right? Just because I like sitting up at work late at night working on things after dinner and the house is quiet and I like to sit up late and work on things or create training programs, that doesn't mean I should do it just because I can, right? So what I've begun to understand is what is the best daily rhythm for me, right? And that maybe this is a circadian rhythm, I'm not sure, but it's like really thinking about and looking at my energy levels and figuring out what's the best time of day for me to do certain things. For instance, I know for myself, the best time for me to think and have ideas is right when I wake up. So early in the morning, when I'm doing my spiritual practice, my meditation, my prayer, that's part of my morning protocol. That's when ideas start coming to me. So ideas, solutions, that kind of thing. And I'm able to jot those down. And then the best time for me to do client work, like coaching clients or writing proposals, that kind of stuff, is anything early in the day, like in the morning until about 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And then by like 2 or 3 o'clock, that's when my energy level drops, right? And so for me, what I've started doing is at 2 or 3 o'clock, I take a break. So I'll have a super late lunch or I'll take a break. I'll run some errands. I work for myself, so I can, my schedule. If I don't have a meeting, I can run errands. I can go out and about, and then I come back and then I work some more in maybe right before dinner or after dinner, or I might work in the evening a little bit. But here's the whole point I'm making. What I've begun to figure out is my own natural energy flow, and I schedule my work accordingly. Now, I can do that. I work for myself. Maybe you're in a job where you have a boss or you have certain deadlines and you can't do that. So just think about, even in your workday, are there certain kinds of tasks that work better at a certain time of day? Is it better for you to have most of your meetings in the morning if you can do that? Is it better for you to do most of your planning and strategizing around lunchtime? So just look at that for yourself. When is the best, where is your energy best used at certain times of the day, and then plan your work accordingly to the degree that you can. Now, obviously, there are times, there's situations, there's deadlines, there's client demands where no matter what my personal rhythm of my day is, I need to just jump on this work and get it done. So obviously, that's what you do. But if you can sort of figure out the rhythm of your day that works with your energy level, you will avoid burning out because you're naturally surfing your high energy moments doing that work that needs high energy. You're not just grinding. And this, I used to do this, just grind through, even though I'm exhausted, just grind through to get something done. And then you look up after weeks and months of doing that and you're burnt out. So hopefully this was helpful to you today. 3 ways to avoid burnout. Number 1, get off the dance floor. You need a different perspective. Number 2, set some boundaries because you're taking on too much. And number 3, I want you to figure out your best daily rhythm for working and your best daily energy for working. That's how you avoid burnout. I hope this was helpful to you. If you want to learn more about my coaching work, or you want to learn how to slay imposter syndrome, if that's been cropping up for you, that voice telling you you're not enough, you're not good enough, what are you doing here? You're a fraud. If that's coming up for you, feel free to join my next masterclass. It's free. It's no cost. I'll be there live. I'll be coaching you. You can get the link right below. All the information's there. I look forward to seeing you, and I will see you again on the next video in this series.